Maja, John, Nad, and Juanito in Acapulco, Mexico. I'm sitting in the dugout at the ball field. It's way at the south end of the Acapulco Pueblo, and it's away from everything. Today, it doesn't seem to be anybody else out here. Not on the big ball field here, not in the structure over there where there's a soccer field and bleachers. No, nobody. And out here, I can get the view from 10,000 feet. Now, that's a phrase that's used for systems thinking. Systems thinking, I'm calling one of the keys to the ecstatic life, even though it doesn't sound sexy. If you want to have a really constructive life, a really productive life, you have to not always be swatting flies. You need to go to the center where the flies are being hatched. That's gross. But when I changed from being a psychologist to working in the business world, I had been 20 years as a PhD psychologist, psychotherapist. I got tired. I was too extroverted to sit in a room all the time with one or two people. And I wanted to have a bigger impact in the world. And that meant attacking systems, not just helping individuals, but helping systems change. Big systems like AT&T, because I worked for 4 years at AT&T at the height of its glory back in the 80s. So when I went to AT&T, I knew how to work with individuals and with groups. My mentor, David Sprouse, says, I never thought a psychologist would hit the ground running here, but you did because you're great with individuals and great with small groups. Now you have to, if you're going to succeed in a big organization like AT&T, you have to think in terms of systems. How does this group you're working with fit into their whole organization? And then how does that organization, like the marketing division, fit in with the whole company? So I worked on that for 4 years at AT&T. When I left AT&T, I moved to Cincinnati, which in some ways was a real downgrade because I went from the big city of Chicago, which was my home and very exciting, to Cincinnati, which was a sleepy conservative town, especially back then. GQ magazine published an article while I was there titled Cincinnati, America's Most Uptight City, and it was. And I was working at the power company. AT&T really knew about career development and organization development, my field. Cincinnati Gas was all about, it was a very conservative company that was all about avoiding accidents. That's all they cared about. They didn't care about career development. No, their preference was teach them a job and hope they'll stay there forever so we have no accidents. But ironically, while I was at Cincinnati Gas and Electric, which doesn't even exist anymore, I consulted to the training division there, which was the division in that company that was most like our organization development group. And they were thinking in terms of big picture stuff. And cutting edge right then, back in the 80s, the most cutting edge thinker around systems was Peter Senge, who was, I think, in Boston and had written a book called The Fifth Discipline, which really revolutionized the way people thought about big organizations. And they had enough vision that a team of us, 3 of them from the training department, and me consulting to them from organization development, were part of the first cadre of training directly with Peter Senge in Boston, where he took on something like 12 companies to work with to apply his theories and see how they worked on the ground. So we went to Boston several times. The 4 of us went to Boston for several days with Peter Senge and 12 other companies. So I really, really learned to think systemically. Now I want to tell you the application of that for today, because today my to-do this morning, and I made a video about it, was now that I'm getting more calm and more grounded here in Akamal, if I want my life to really work, I've got to actually do the things I've committed to, and I'm using this wonderful app Todoist, but I don't even look at it. I'll enter a to do in there, and then I go by the seat of my pants all day, intuitively, what I think ought to get done. I don't even look at Todoist. So this morning, I gave myself a big to do of actually ticking off those to dos or reorganizing them, at least looking at that list of to dos. So that seemed pretty good. But out here at the ball field, when I went to 10,000 feet to a higher look, bigger picture, what came to me was no. You know what's driving you crazy about Todoist and why you don't use it? A great feature of it is you can organize all your to-dos in terms of projects. But I don't know how to work with that project part of the app. It's a big mess. It's not alphabetical. There's no logic to the way those projects, as I've entered them, are. So when I go to look at it, it makes me insane. Like, this is so klutzy. So out here, I came up with a big idea. Right before the COVID, right before I left Asheville, North Carolina, so in could have been the end of 2019 or the very beginning of 2020, I was an entrepreneur and I was wanting to stay in contact with my clients. And there's an email marketing system, contact management system called Constant Contact. And I signed up with them to help them teach me how to write regular emails to all my clients to stay in touch with them. Okay, that's a great notion. I never did that. But what happened was one of their marketing reps called me basically to build loyalty to their fairly expensive business, Constant Contact, email marketing. And he was supposed to spend 10 minutes on the phone with me, helping me know how to use them and build my loyalty to them. But he got wildly enthused as I told him some of the stories from my life. He says, you know what, man? You are the product. You and the stories from your life. You are the product. And that really riveted me because I've always had the feeling like I have a pretty special life. I've had a Forrest Gump life where I've been influenced by amazing, many famous people. I've got a list of like 15 people who have influenced me in my life who are on Wikipedia. So I applied that. I said, okay, what if we organized all these projects under the main product, because I've got a bunch of products as projects on there. What if we organized it all in terms of my life? What if that was the umbrella project? And under that, we organized all the places where I lived and all my products. And Mexico would become part of all the places where I lived. The US, all my US friends would go under US. And I've been sitting here for about an hour, or it feels like an hour, rearranging all that. Now, that's all in the weeds for you. You're probably not finding that very interesting. But the payoff, the main point is if you think about your life systemically, don't think about all the things I have to do today. Ask yourself, well, why am I doing them? What's something I could do that would have a bigger impact? One of the key principles in systems thinking is the point of greatest leverage. What could I do that would make the biggest difference and help all of it flow easier? It's heady. It's heady. I hope I haven't lost you completely. I don't know where to take it further right now. My brain is like a dead at this point. That's as far as I can go. So I will do you the honor of. I hate it when on the phone when people say, "Well, I'll let you go now," and I know they're really saying, "I want to let me go. I'm done." Well, I'm gonna let you go, and also I'm done. I got nothing else to say. It's all gotten. That's as much as I can organize it right now. Bye. Buenas tardes. From Akumal, Riviera Maya, Mexico.